In a press conference after practice yesterday, Jordan Love spoke with the media, and it's a pretty interesting conversation, about 14 or 15 minutes, but I want to focus on 1 minute or two section where Jordan Love gets asked about this Jeff Hafley defense. And with Jeff Hafley coming in as the Packers' new defensive coordinator, there's no doubt that I think there's a lot of excitement in Green Bay and the fan base that having a new guy at the helm, being the new defensive coordinator, could give the Packers a better chance on defense this year. I think that fans grew frustrated over the years with Joe Barry, and while there were some moments of solid play from the defense where you go on a few weeks, there could be streaks of solid play, overall it was pretty inconsistent during Joe Barry's tenure in Green Bay. And so now, of course, the hope is that Jeff Hafley can revitalize this defense and make them a much more consistent unit. The Packers invested a lot this offseason in the defense, drafting Edgerrin Cooper in round 2 as a linebacker, drafting Javon Bullard in round 2 as a safety, and then, of course, signing Xavier McKinney, probably the biggest offseason move the Packers made this year, making him the 4th highest paid safety in the NFL, around $17 million per year. And so there's no doubt there's a lot of reason to be optimistic for Jeff Hafley, and I think the kind of style of defense he is bringing to Green Bay. But here's what Jordan Love had to say about it when asked by reporters. He said this: "I think the defense has done a great job of mixing up looks. They never really give you the same 2 looks back to back. They do a great job of mixing it up. You know, the safeties are always moving, and they make stuff all look the same with their pressures, with their disguise. They'll show pressure, drop out, so it's really a mind game for the quarterback trying to tell what they're in. I think right now they're doing a great job of being able to pass stuff off and kind of understanding where they need to be in the zones, in the man, and communicate well with each other. Whereas, like I said, OTAs, you could tell it was fresh for them. They were still learning that stuff, and now they're dialed into everything they need to be doing. There's not a lot of wide open guys, I would say, in this defense. They're playing really well, and like I said, Hafley is doing a really good job with disguising and then communicating how they want it to look." So Jordan Love gives us a few pretty interesting, tidbits of information there. And while I expect, players in press conferences, you don't expect Jordan Love to say, if he thought this defense was bad, you wouldn't expect him to say that, obviously. That's just not the kind of thing players, want to do to cause problems there. But at the same time, he does give us a few ideas as to how this defense is going to look. The fact that they are going to be mixing up their looks a lot and doing things that make the quarterback have to be very mindful of what the defense is doing. They're making it complicated when it comes to the reads and where players are, who's going to be rushing, who's going to be dropping back. And so I feel like that's something you want to see. You want to see your defense making it harder for opposing quarterbacks. And the greats like Aaron Rodgers are really good at figuring out what the defense is going to do. And it sounds like Hafley's defense is pretty good at disguising things and making things look one way than doing something else, which sounds like it could be beneficial. Then the other thing as well, the fact that, Jordan Love is saying there's not a lot of wide open guys. And this isn't like, a bottom tier offense. If this was the Panthers offense and, there weren't a lot of guys wide open, you could say, well, that's just because, the Panthers offense is pretty bad. But at the same time, here in Green Bay, to end the year last year, this was one of the best offenses in the entire NFL. So the fact that this Packers defense is making it tough on these receivers, these tight ends, and not letting guys be wide open, I think it's a pretty good indication that this defense is going to bring it this year. I think there's a ton of talent in the secondary. Jair Alexander, Xavier McKinney, definitely the top 2 players here in this Packers defense. And so the fact that they're making it tough for this Packers offense, who's one of the best in the league, I think it's a very good sign. Of course, I think in training camp, you can't take everything and, take what you see there and then, have a full idea of what this defense is going to be during the season. Clearly, once the season starts, we'll have a better idea of what this defense will really look like. But at the same time, I think this is a good sign of things to come here in Jordan Love with this high praise for this Packers defense. And plus seeing all the 8 different practices so far, it sounds like this defense has been pretty consistent. The defensive line is consistently getting pressure. The secondary is, making a lot of plays on the ball and even have picked Jordan Love off a few different times. So I think it's a good sign right now, but time will tell if this will hold up once the regular season comes around. But that's pretty much all I wanted to share. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe below. You can follow me on Twitter, LukeBeller3, and I also have a second NFL channel, which I'll link at the top of the description, where I've been posting typically 2 times per weekday. So you can check that out if you would like.